Man, how I wish I could have one lens to do it all. I'm a 50 shooter, and I really love 50s. I do shoot 35 on occasion, but I shoot it so much less than than the 50. Like I shoot 50 more than anything, more than any lens I shoot 50 millimeter. It's just my preference. It may not be right for you, it may not be right for others. I shoot portraits at 50, I love it. Now, everybody says, oh, it's our field of view. And they're incorrect. You know, the 50 isn't our field of view or our vision. It's how we see size-wise, perspective-wise. In other words, if you're looking at somebody, face-to-face, one-to-one, that's what the 50 millimeter gives you. It's not our field of view, our wide view. And I know I'm not explaining this right, but I'm doing my best. But it's the size that you see people. The sensor, it's a one-to-one on the 50 on the sensor, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I just wanted to get that out there. It's not like your field of view this way, but it's how we see people, size-wise. Okay, now that's out of the way. The next thing is, I would love 150 to do it all. Now, I did get the Voigtlander 40 millimeter, not quite a 50, but really close, 1.2. And I have this for that artistic look. I do love the artistic look. I appreciate it. I'm not somebody that's looking for out of focus all the time, or this creamy bokeh or whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm just looking for great subject images, because I want people to look at the subject, not at my bokeh balls, which sounds wrong. Anyway, so for commercial work, I have the Voigtlander 50 Apo. This lens resolves the 60 megapixels on this camera better than any lens I own. Now, I am sure the Leica Apo is spectacular. I just can't afford $8,000 or $9,000 versus $1,000 for this. And, this is worth every single dime, period. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. If you want solid, crisp, well-resolved images, this is the lens. Now, if I'm shooting up close on somebody, you have to, I want to make this clear. If I'm shooting a close face shot, that high resolution isn't going to make too much of a difference. But when I'm shooting full length for clothing and so forth, I need the resolution to be there. So when I zoom in, I can see the detail on the material or the object, whatever I'm shooting. That's what the Apo does for me. It is a perfectly clean clinical lens. And that's what I need for commercial work. So for my commercial clients that don't need or don't require a medium format file, I can use the Leica 60 megapixel with this Apo lens, and they're really, really happy with the results. That's why I own this one. So there's two. Now my everyday walk around, I'm thrilled with f2. I can go to 2, 4, 5.6. I'm completely happy with that. I like the environment. I want to see part of it. If I just have blur everywhere, I can do that in a studio every day of my life. So why go anywhere? Why fight with the sun and try to control it? So I want to see a little bit of the environment. For that, my 50 millimeter, number 3, is the Summicron. Not the Summilux, believe it or not. I love the Summicron lens. It is, does it resolve as well as the Apo? Absolutely not, but it resolves. It does extremely well, both at the 36 and 60. I like the little features like the built-in lens hood, the size, the weight. I like the way it handles the focusing, everything. It's just a beautiful lens. It is great to carry around. And if I could have this on my camera and nothing else, I would. Now, I know the 50 Apo from Leica would be spectacular. I would absolutely love it, but it is clinical like the Voigtlander. Okay, so it's just smaller like this Summicron, but this has it's a little weightier, a little bigger, but I want that character in some of my photos and everyday shoots. I want character. I used this lens on the last video I did with the prom party. And the photos are gorgeous. Like, no one's going to look at those photos not a client, not a photographer, and go, ew, you should have used this lens, because this one just works. You know, you don't always need that perfect resolution. Unless you're shooting commercial and they require it, then you need it. But if I can have all three of these lenses in one, I would kill to have that. But I want the character at f2 like I get on the Summicron. And I get clinical perfection on the Apo. So that's not going to work. The 40mm 1.2 is a character lens. It is sharp, but it does give you that glow at 1.2. And I believe me, you know how much I love Voigtlander, but there is a look to a Summicron and to a Summilux that you can't get from any other lens. It's like you can't really say what the hell it is, it's just there. Anyway, today I'm going to have a shoot. I'm going to use the Summicron just so you can get an idea. I'm going to shoot up some close-up shots, some distance shots, and just have you take a good look at the lens, because I don't want people that have the M11 or higher megapixel cameras to discount this lens. You know, it's an inexpensive lens in Leica terms. Used, you can probably get them for 18 to 2200 in very good mint condition. Brand new, I think they're 28 now. These just never go down in price. They just stay. It's a great investment, is what I'm trying to say. I promise you, I think I'll still be using this lens, you know, 10 years from now. Because number one, it's built to last, and number two, the rendering is stunning on it. And I'm going to drop down to 36 megapixels today to see if I get some kind of difference between the 60 megapixel and the 36. So, you know, if this lens can't resolve 60 megapixel like an Apo can, is it going to resolve 36 any better? Or is the pixel binning that this camera does when you drop it down to 36, you know, is that not making a difference? You know, the pixel binning on the M11s was supposed to make a difference in low light performance. I don't see it, but then, you know, I don't pixel peep that much. So, but I have tried, you know, 36 in low light, and it was the same as 60 for me. I shoot 36 megapixel in this camera a lot because it is good enough a lot of the time. Everyday clients, 36 megapixels, so I'm never going to need more than that. Again, commercial clients, Apo lens, 60 megapixels. But every other type of work that I do, like if it's even some portraits and parties and events, 36 megapixel kills on this. And with this lens, but anyway, enjoy the shoot. Sorry I went on so long. But if you have any questions about any of these lenses, I'm very apt on these lenses now. I can help. But anyway, thanks for watching.
So really quickly, I hate comparisons. I don't do charts, but I just wanted to show you, because I have preached a lot about the Voigtlander Apo handling the resolution of the 60 megapixel camera. And I actually took down the resolution to 36 megapixel on the Leica M11, and I shot with the Summicron and the Apo. And I'm only doing 3/4 length. Usually I'm doing full length, so it's even a bigger problem when it's full length. And they have to zoom in. So for commercial work, for clothing, it's really, really important to get the resolution. Now, if I gave the client a Summicron image versus the Voigtlander Apo image, they would have a problem with it. As you can see with the Voigtlander Apo, the detail of every part of that fabric is there. With the Summicron, it becomes a little mushy. This doesn't mean that the lens is less sharp. It just means it's not handling the resolution. And there's a big difference there. You know, so some lenses just don't handle the resolution. Older lenses, they can't handle the resolution of new sensors. You know, like Fuji said, hey, you can only use these lenses, not these lenses, because we're up to 40 megapixels in resolution. You know, this is a reality. Now here, when you move in closer, you can see that they're a lot closer. The Summicron looks like it's handling the resolution a little bit better, but it's still, the edge still goes to the Voigtlander Apo. But this is why I have to have, you know, different lenses for different jobs. My choice to shoot every day is absolutely the Summicron, unless I need that resolution or that sharpness. And for regular clients, I don't need it, which is a blessing for me. And if I want to go the artistic route, again, I'll go to the 40 1.2. These LEDs that I'm using, I just wanted to show you a couple portraits, straight out without comparing anything. This is fantastic. There's no issues with this image whatsoever. It's sharp. It looks great. If I compared it to the Apo, yeah, it would not stand up, but on its own, it stands up perfectly. Now, this 40-watt powerhouse light is really impressive. It's bright as hell. I just took the rubber diffuser off. I can't even pronounce the name of it, so I'll leave the link in the description below. But this light is pretty impressive. I just wanted to tell you that. Anyway, here's another shot straight at a camera. Here's the resolution. It looks great.